Hey everybody, it's Andy here from Figment, and I'm joined today with Itzik from Enigma, who you also may know by the online handle. How do you pronounce it? Do you say Cashmani, Cashmani? How do you say
Yeah, I just say cash money and go with it.
it? Very good. Well,
Yeah.
today we're going to be talking about the secret network, Enigma's role in it, and how we can do different things with privacy on Web3. So with that, Itzik, I'll hand it over to you to kind of give a quick introduction about Enigma. Maybe start with what secret is, how Enigma plays a role in it, and what you're looking forward to about privacy in Web3.
Yeah, sure. I'll actually hijack the question, also talk a little bit about myself, because I don't know how many people here are familiar
Please, yes.
specifically about me and why I may or may not be, talking out of my ass, so to speak. Yeah, so I'm Itzik or Cash Money. I've been around the block a bit, something like 10 years, doing software development, cybersecurity, things like that. Most of my time was spent in the IDF. I'm from Israel, Tel Aviv specifically. And most of my time was in some elite cybersecurity units in the IDF, doing cybersecurity, architecture, development, things like that. And in the past 2 years, I've been in crypto, learning a ton. Blockchain is amazing. It's like, you have the deep tech and you have the security and you have like all the finances and the like wild west, we're reinventing currency, things like that. And everything is like, super challenging, super fun. And yeah, that's why I joined Enigma about a year ago, I think. Currently VP of engineering at Enigma. Yeah, that's about it, like super high level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Enigma, getting down to your question. Yeah, so Enigma is sort of was born like deep in the basement in the MIT Media Lab sometime around like 2016, with the goal of sort of bringing privacy and decentralization and trust to blockchain and like to everybody who uses blockchain. And that vision was sort of what led to the creation of Secret Network. And Secret Network is like, we think it's pretty amazing. It's like the first blockchain with layer one privacy. And that means, you have the regular blockchain, but everything is encrypted, and it's decentralized and it's permissionless and anyone can use it. And Enigma is a core contributor to that network. Like, we don't own it. It's community run, on-chain governance, all that good stuff. Yeah, that would be the my answer.
Great. And so you mentioned, getting some early starts from MIT. What were the original use cases? Do you know that were in mind, or what was sort of envisioned originally, and what are you seeing that's now available today?
Yeah. So I think like it's very easy to sort of imagine, what a blockchain with privacy can do. Like sort of a lot of the use cases that you talk about that go beyond like, financial transactions, a lot of them require some sort of privacy function. Like, there was some talk around, the last year around like elections, like voting on chain. And voting on chain, would be like sort of missing something if you could see, what everybody voted for. Doesn't matter, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you don't necessarily want everything to be public information.
Right.
And it extends like far beyond that. If you think about like applications which use private data, whether it be like financial data or biometric data or any sensitive information, healthcare. If you want to do those applications in a decentralized way, then you have to have some layer of privacy. I think that was like the initial vision that was, that brought around the development and creation of Secret Network.
Got it. Okay, let's move from that sort of high level down to a very low level, and let's kind of try to explore some of the details of what this looks like. So, am I correct in that one of the first use cases we've seen here is using Secret Network to create a token that has privacy functions to it, meaning maybe you can't see balances or see to and from and things like that. Can you kind of walk through how that works in secret, what that's currently called, and what the benefits of that are?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'll just talk like a little bit about why we started with creating tokens.
Yep.
And basically, we had secret network. We deployed what we call secret contracts, or like private computations, around September of last year on mainnet. And then, the question we had to answer was, okay, so how do we drive adoption? How do we bring value to the network? How do we how do we make people want to build on secret network? And everybody knows, like, this last summer was the summer of DeFi, right? So like the first thing that comes to mind is let's, bring in value. Let's, bring in, create an ecosystem around secret network that allows DeFi, but with privacy. So that was like the first thing that we were looking at to generate value on secret network. And if you look at DeFi, like the building blocks of DeFi are tokens. You have to have tokens. You can't, everything is tokenized. And like ERC20s on Ethereum are like so widespread that, people take them for granted and don't even think about how they work behind the scenes. So for us, like the first goal was to create a secret token standard. That's what we call SNP20s. And SNP20s are just like your regular ERC20 tokens, but like you said, everything is private. So, you can't see who sent tokens to whom, what you're doing with them, nothing of the sort. And that's like an open spec that anybody can look at. We have an implementation that's also open source, so anybody can deploy their own privacy token. And that was like the first building block of the DeFi ecosystem that we have now on Secret Network.
Got it. Okay, let's try to take it even one level deeper. So the way I'm understanding this is their secret network has smart contracts, and is that right?
Correct.
And those are sort of powered or maybe a fork of CosmWasm. Can you describe whether that is just sort of vanilla CosmWasm, you had to make extra things to sort of make them secret, or just what are some of the challenges that you faced adapting some smart contracting language into making it more privacy preserving?
So all of that was correct. So basically, for those of you who don't know, CosmWasm is the Cosmos SDK sort of version of, let's say, the EVM, like the brain that powers contracts. And we call them secret contracts on Secret Network. Like one of the things that we wanted to do going into Secret Network was to, as much as possible, use like proven components, things that other people built, and sort of like stand on the shoulders of giants, like, so to speak. And CosmWasm was one of those tools that allowed us to do that, have like that framework of contracts, which was great for us. But of course, like you said, I mean, Secret Network, nothing is as simple as like, plug and play. We sort of had to figure out how to make contracts run in CosmWasm, but in a secure environment. So, in vanilla CosmWasm, everybody knows what everybody else is computing. Like, you have a node, you're running it, you look at, what the code is doing, you can see it. We sort of had to take that and wrap it in a trusted execution environment and create an encryption protocol around that. So not only is the computation itself encrypted, but all the data that you send to the blockchain is also encrypted in such a way that the contract itself knows what you're doing, but anybody else except you doesn't. And that was pretty challenging, but yeah, that's basically the heart of Secret Network.
Okay, great. And so, kind of stepping back up one level, so you have this sort of privacy preserving smart contracting system now, and one of the first things you've done is you've created SNP20s. So SNP is Secret Network Improvement Proposal, I assume, right? And so now you could take the base token of the chain, which is SCRT, the secret token, and we could essentially wrap it. So if you use like Ether and wrapped Ether, do you view this as sort of like a wrapping? Is that a decent way to think about it? And now we have little S secret token, and now it's a privacy preserving token. Is that the way to think about it?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. It's important to realize that the SNP20 is basically just a standard, and you
Yeah,
can do it whatever you want. So, like
yeah.
the first use case that we had was to take secret and create a SNP20 token that wraps the secret and has like this S secret or secret.
Right.
And that creates a privacy token. You can do that with any asset you want. And I don't know, when IBC, for example, comes around, then you can take your atom and wrap that and have like S atom. But you can also have other privacy tokens. You just have like a regular privacy token that is not tied to any on-chain native coin.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. While you were chatting here, I pulled up the great block explorer called secretnodes.com, and it shows the number of interactions with this S secret smart contract or secret smart contract. Number of users is pretty cool. I mean, we're over 8,000 people. Seems like, or 8,000 addresses have used this. So it seems like there's some nice adoption here.
Yeah. It's not only the number of users, but also like the amount of secret that's locked in there. I don't remember the exact values, but
32 million US right now. Over 8 million secret tokens.
Not bad. Not half bad.
Yeah, great. So this is just one. We're talking here essentially about creating a privacy preserving token. What are some of the other applications that you've seen or that you've built yourself? I know there's a bridge. I know there's a new CFI token, things like that. Can you walk us through some of the other applications that have launched or that are coming down the pipe?
Yeah, sure. So I talked about a bit earlier about like the DeFi ecosystem, and secret tokens were like the first building block of that. But since then, we've gone a few steps further. And the first step was, okay, so we have tokens. Now we want to bring in, liquidity and bring in assets from, places that aren't necessarily secret network. And the first thing we did was create a bridge to Ethereum. So now you can bridge your Ethereum assets, bring them over to secret, and have a secret token version of them. So you get a private version of like your Ethereum, your USDT, whatever token you can think of. And that's like sort of an infrastructure tool, which you can do. You can sort of create a coin mixer out of that, and you can do other stuff. But what we wanted to focus on was really creating more secret network focused applications. And that's why, the next step was to have some place where you can sort of trade these tokens, where you can, you have your secret ETH on secret network. Now, let's make that tradable. Let's find, ways that you can, earn rewards and, do all kinds of cool stuff. And that's, why we made the AMM. And those are like the first two core building blocks where you can bring in assets, you can trade them. And now we're looking to expand on that, whether it be, having more bridges to other networks. So you can sort of trade between networks on secret network, on our front-running resistant AMM. Because we also feel like if you do things on secret network where, people can't necessarily see what you're about to do and they can't front-run your transaction, then you also have that also benefits users directly. And the next steps are to build even more on that, and that's creating lending and doing other stuff, because we feel that secret network has a unique value proposition to DeFi, in that not only is it private, not only you have these front-running resistant properties, but there's also the native staking functionality built into the network. So you can create a lot of value where otherwise you couldn't. Staking derivatives are something that come to mind. There are other applications.
Yep. Okay, so I'll link up the site, but I assume everyone should go to bridge.secret.network to sort of interact here. Right. So there's a link there, and so the order of operations here is you might have some assets on Ethereum and you want to bring them across. And maybe in the future there'll be other networks, but right now it's really focused on Ethereum. You start with the bridge. If you go to that link I just sent and click on assets, you can see right now it looks like there's almost 15,000 ETH or $52 million worth of ETH that's come across the bridge and is currently locked. Is that the right way to look at this?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I think it's around, I don't know, 130, 140 million
Yeah,
dollars
yeah, what
total assets.
133
Yeah.
total. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And so when let's say I have ETH, I use MetaMask, my ETH comes across the bridge. Do what I have now? Is it what I have now? Secret ETH, little S ETH. Is that what I would see sort of in my wallet?
Correct. Yeah, you'd have to
Yep.
use Kepler, which
Yep.
is Secret Network's version of MetaMask,
Yep.
and over there you'd be able to access your secret tokens. And it's
Great.
important to realize that if you come across the bridge for the first time, you're introduced to this concept that we call viewing keys, and that sort of allows you to view your own balances. It's sort of like a password that you use to be able to see your balance. You can transfer that across your different devices and still,
Right.
be able to access your balances because everything is private. Otherwise, you
Yep.
couldn't see anything.
Yeah, right. So if you go to a block explorer and try to see the balance on my address for my my secret ETH or my secret, you can't see it. So I need a separate key, a viewing key, to essentially allow myself to see it, or allow me and my own browser to see it. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So let's kind of keep walking through these steps. I just used the bridge. I brought my Ether across. What next? I see a button here called Earn. Should I go there, or I could swap it, or what's sort of the next step on sort of the user's journey?
Yeah. So what we want to do right now, what we're looking to do is sort of introduce people to this token called C5, which is the governance token of Secret Swap. And Secret Swap is the secret version of Uniswap, for example. And right now, like the core value proposition, like the thing that you'd want to do, bringing your assets over to Secret Network, is to earn C5 rewards. And if you stake as like an LP on Secret Swap in specific pools, then you can earn, let's say, very generous numbers of APY and C5.
Right.
And you can see that on the C5 page on the bridge site. And that would be like the thing that you'd want to do immediately. And after that, you can start exploring the ecosystem more.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. And so the last question I have on this sort of C5 topic is, I saw that there was a way to get the C5 tokens. I think you airdrop some, but if I wanted to go and stake the other tokens, I see some LP tokens. LP secret C5. How would you get those LP tokens to stake them?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're familiar with DeFi, then it's sort of like the same thing. I'll admit it's not as straightforward as we'd want to be. Like DeFi has a lot of UX challenges, like across the entire blockchain ecosystem. This is something that's not super solved right now. But generally speaking, the steps are you get double-sided liquidity, which means like if you want add liquidity to a secret ETH pool, then you'd have to acquire some secret ETH and some secret. Take those tokens, stake them, deposit them to Secret Swap. Then you get LP tokens, which are another SNP20 token, and those you just deposit in the staking contract, and you start earning CFI. And that CFI, it accumulates every block, so about every 6 seconds. There's no lock period. You can stake for as long as you want, unstake, do whatever you want. Everything is passive and pretty easy to do once you sort of figure out the basics.
Yep. Great. Thanks for going into detail of these things. I really wanted to give people an idea of what they can do today. And so let me do a quick summary of the things we talked about, and I'm sure there's more, but the first thing you do today is you can actually have a privacy preserving token where your balances are private, transfers are private, things like that. And you do that by using SNP20 standard to essentially wrap your tokens, or sort of convert your tokens into this sort of the secret token. So that's great. And then you mentioned that there is Secret Swap, which is sort of your privacy preserving or front running resistant AMM. There's all sorts of things you can do there. We've talked a little bit about the governance token. We talked about actually using the AMM itself, and of course we mentioned the bridge. This is great. Yeah, the thing I always like to tell people is what you can do with these tokens, and there's a lot of things you can already do, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming. So is there anything you want to mention in addition to what we've talked about, either that's in development or you want to kind of let people know about to look for in the future?
I'll tease like general things that we're doing. There
Yeah.
are some things that are super, super cool and I can't talk about yet,
Yeah.
sadly. But generally speaking, I will say that we have sort of like a revamped secret swap version 2 coming out,
Yep.
which will sort of make everything we feel look better, feel better, work better. Everything will be a bit more streamlined. And except for that, we have more bridges coming out. We have a bridge to BSC that's on testnet right now. We have a bridge with Polkadot as well, which is being on testnet. More bridges. We're going to start doing IBC, hopefully, connect to other Cosmos chains as well. And then like develop the DeFi ecosystem in general, whether it be like lending products, staking derivatives, things like that. What else? Oh, and immediately we have coming pretty soon. We have like another way to earn rewards using Secret Swap, which is the cashback mechanism, which means sort of like you trade on Secret Swap and you'll earn CFI depending on like how much you trade.
Right. Great. Well, yeah, definitely is exciting. There's a ton of stuff that's happening already, and we're excited to see the announcements of the things which you foreshadowed as well. So I'm very excited about that. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk a bit about Enigma, the company. There's a question in the Q&A section about what is Enigma planning in the future. I assume that you're doing core protocol development. I assume that you're helping launch some of these applications. What's the sort of roadmap for Enigma, and what's next?
Yeah. So first of all, the foreseeable future is Enigma is supporting Secret Network. This is like not like we're not abandoning Secret. Like we're not going to go do our own thing in the immediate future. And for that, like our goals are basically, we ask ourselves, what are the things that need to be done to grow Secret Network?
Right.
And that usually, has a few different areas where you can do, like where you can develop and, where you can contribute. And the first is the infrastructure level. So that's working on, not only applications for Secret Network, but like the core, like the blockchain itself, the code itself, the encryption protocol. So we want to make things, first of all, easier for developers to use, to add more like components, stuff like IBC. You sort of have to like dig deep into the blockchain code to get that working. Making things more performant, getting more out of each node. So that's like the first area. The second is blockchain applications, which are sort of like things that are more general, like things that unlock new opportunities for developers. So that's, we're talking about like the bridge, secret swap, components that are pretty much open source. Anybody can integrate with and sort of bring value to the network. And the third is sort of like the developer experience. That's sort of like tooling, that's documentation, new features, things like that.
Yeah, great. So I assume that Enigma is one of several groups who are working in the space. Let's say that there's someone who wanted to help out and join and sort of and work with Enigma and the rest of the community. What's the best place to get involved? Where should they start? And what kind of areas could people start helping on working in?
Well, it's a good question. Everywhere with anything. Generally speaking, I think the best place, is join us on social media, whether it be like, I don't know, Twitter, Telegram, Discord. Go there, start talking to people. We have weekly community-run committees which manage different aspects of Secret Network. So if you're a developer, you can join the dev committee. If you want to do awareness, you can join the awareness committee. There's sort of something for everyone. And like specifically, if you're a developer and you want to have a cool idea of something that can be done on Secret Network, there are also channels to meet teams. We have a grants program where you can apply for a grant. to develop your application on Secret Network. And we also have the Secret Fellows program where you can apply to become a developer sponsored by Secret Network, working on applications on Secret Network.
Yeah, that's great. And so this makes sense to me. Clearly that there's a lot of support for people, meaning that if you want to join, there's grant programs, there's ways to get involved. Is there any something like either a public roadmap or a way to see what's currently being worked on so people can kind of jump in and submit pull requests, or is the roadmap not currently public?
So a lot of the stuff, like all the code that we're doing, everything is open source on GitHub. So you can sort of jump in and see at any given time what we're doing. Sometimes it sort of works in our detriment, where you push a commit or some code that contains a name of something that you're working on that we didn't talk about yet, and people jump in and say like look at this. But yeah, generally everything is sort of open source. We try to talk about everything that we can and sort of share everything. I think we can do a bit better on that. Like, I won't say that we're perfect. We're planning on releasing more dev updates and having a more streamlined roadmap where you can like see everything that's being done. So that's a work in progress.
Great. That makes sense. I want to change gears a little bit. And you mentioned, your background and then coming into the blockchain space in the past couple of years. What advice would you have for other developers, other people who want to get involved? Whether they come get involved with Secret or whether they're just starting out. Do you have anything that you might share for people who want to get started in their journey, sort of from like traditional Web3 to Web3?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like the thing for me would be sort of like dream big, but start small. And by that I mean like, go crazy. Blockchain is amazing in that it empowers you as a developer to be able to create applications with like little to no, infrastructure, operational costs, things like that. You can, deploy an application, it's there and it works and it's always on, and that's like amazing. That's incredible. But it's also a bit daunting if you're jumping in. I would say like the first thing you want to do is like build something, anything. It doesn't matter what. Follow a tutorial. Do like something super small, like I don't know, a calculator on chain, whatever, a hello world type thing. Just get your hands dirty first, and you'll learn so much about how everything works, and then you can apply that to the bigger projects and the more advanced things that you want to do.
Yep. That's great advice. And the other thing I would say, I agree with you, to sort of start with Hello World or Calculator or something. For people that want to get started with Secret, I just linked up in the chat. We actually have something called the Secret Pathway, which you go from not having ever connected to a node to deploying a smart contract in 5 steps. And so follow along. The first step is installing Node.js on your computer. So if you're a dev, it'll be easier for you. If you're not, we have you starting from scratch in the terminal. So for anyone that wants to get started with Secret, I linked that up there. Okay, great. I want to take a few questions now from the audience, and then we'll sort of move to wrap up. So we answered one already. Another question, you talked about bridges. There's a question here, which you can choose to answer or not, which is, does Enigma have any plans to build a Tron or TRX bridge?
No immediate plans. I won't say no to, I won't say, it'll never happen. Just that, we have our hands full right now with the current bridges that we're working on, but after that, sky's the limit.
Okay, and the current bridges, I assume that those are open source code. So if someone wanted to adapt to what you've done and try to do it community led, could that happen?
Yeah, definitely. One of our, one of the things we set out to do was have, the bridge as open source, and let people look at that, be inspired, either take our code or roll their own. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, we want we're happy if anybody builds their own bridge, then we're super happy to support that. I can tease that there is a project that is building their own bridge to a network, to one of the bigger networks. I won't say exactly what they're doing, how they're doing. I'll let them announce it in their own time, but it's going to be really cool.
Good. Love the hype. Always fun to hear. Let's take another one from the audience. What are some of the projects currently implementing Secret? So Ruben jumped in here and he added a couple. He mentioned auctions.secret.network and also Sienna.network, as some other people building. Do any other ones come to mind, or just the ones mostly that Ruben has already mentioned?
So those are like the big ones.
Yep.
There are a few others, like the product that I mentioned that's working on Bridge.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
others working on using biometric data.
Yep.
There are a few ones, but like the big one, I think like the big one that everybody is wondering about is like Sienna that launched yesterday. So like congratulations to them. They've been doing like a really good job. They've been working with us. You can find Sienna on the Bridge. It's supported, so you can transfer your assets back and forth. And yeah, they've been doing like a really good job. We're like super proud, and want to see how big it can get. Sort of.
Yep, very good. There's a question here. Besides the web app, is there any ideas about a mobile app in the future, or is that something that might be left for the community to build?
Well, everything, I don't know, we're probably going to do something like that. I can't say that, we're actively working on it, because the one thing that for us was a challenge is like, when you have a new blockchain, you sort of have to create all the infrastructure from scratch. So if, you want to create a mobile app for Ethereum, then you have Wallet Connect, right? And you can integrate that easily. On Secret, we started, doing web apps using Kepler because, those were the first tools that are available. But now, we're seeing Citadel One develop a, mobile app supporting SNP20s. So, when the infrastructure is there, then we'll definitely, scale the Bridge, the swap, and all the applications to mobile as well.
Yep. Okay, great. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So I think that's enough questions for now. I like to ask this question to everyone that I chat with, and I call it the magic wand question. So I give you a magic wand, and you can wave it, and you can get anything you want. Anything added to the blockchain, anything added to Secret. Okay, you got the magic wand. What are you doing with it?
Can I do two things?
Please, wave it twice.
Okay. So first of all, Secret to $580. Like that's the first thing. Number one, Secret all the way to the top. But seriously, like I think something that would be super cool to see would be, I sort of talked about that at the beginning, would be having elections or having, some sort of voting tied to, some real life. I won't say like, the US election on chain. But, some sort of like the first steps there, like having, some sort of election, some sort of vote on chain, on Secret Network, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I like the idea a lot. Let's riff on that just for a second. So right now there is a governance module in Cosmos SDK that I think you're using. What could this look like? Would you want to maybe modify that module for your own governance proposals? Should we try doing governance via the secret contracts, or is there anything worth exploring there?
Wow, you really want to get me to tease stuff. Okay. So it's important to realize that there's a distinction. When we're talking about Cosmos governance, we're basically talking about something that's public, and you can sort of see what everybody's voting. Actually, one of like the first challenges that we sort of saw was that because those votes are public, it becomes like a bit like there are sort of like a bit of let's go with politics, or you don't want to be seen as like the bad guy that votes no. So it's not people tend to maybe not vote their heart and more vote their mind. And when we're talking about voting, we're talking about like private voting. And that's like functionality that's built in, that we have to like create a contract which you can vote on, and then that contract will aggregate the votes or something like that. And that is an application that we'll see coming soon when we implement voting on CeFi. And there are a few other applications that are also going to use a similar mechanism. But to do that, we have to sort of allow contracts to vote. And as far as I know, I think we're the only chain in Cosmos that has that sort of functionality. So we already thought of that when creating the network, and now we can sort of implement that going forwards.
Love it. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, that was just something that kind of came to mind, and it seems like you're already all over it. But yeah, I was thinking, it'd be great to do this for public elections, but let's start with our own blockchain. So that makes sense. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Itzik, I've had a lot of fun chatting with you today. Is there anything else you want to share with the community before we sign off?
Nothing special, join us on Telegram, on Discord, come chat with us. All the developers are active. We love to interact with people, to hear feedback, comments, whatever. And yeah, market by SCRT.
Yep, great. Very good. Well, thanks for your time today. I learned a lot, and I appreciate you entertaining all of my questions and kind of going into great detail. So thanks again. Everyone, look at all the links we shared in the chat, and we will see you guys online.
Thanks, guys.